Hi, okay, I was gonna do two videos, which was one gonna be explaining what this channel was, and this that's going to be following on to this little discussion that I'm having now. But I decided not to do that because that's just a lot more work for me and I'm really lazy. Anyway, so welcome to Aurora's Aura Borealis. I'm Aurora, this is my Aura, the channel, and this is my Borealis. Yes. So essentially this entire channel is just going to be makeup and bad jokes and watching me kill my hair and doing hair stuff and having like discussions, doing some honest like conversations about things that are going on and blah blah blah. So without further ado, welcome to my Aura. Hey, it's Aurora, and today we're doing an honesty hour. So I want to explain why I think everyone hates me. And this has nothing to do with the internet or anything like that. This is just a personal thing that I think is a topic that we should probably discuss as people, because I feel like I'm not the only one in the world that feels like everyone is hating me at some point in my life or some time. Because it's actually, it's a thing, it's an issue, and I'm not the only one. I feel like I'm not the only one. Anyway, so I have a big family, and there's not a lot of people in this family that are female, like your mums and aunts, but they're not as many, and like I have cousins and most of those cousins are male and such. So I'm not in a very female dominated environment family wise, and school wise most of my friends are male also, and I don't know if that's because I'm used to being around male company, but I think it's more to do with the fact that boys are less drama typically in. This is probably going to sound very stereotypical, but they don't really have time to cause drama, and they don't really want to, so, yeah. But the reason I feel like I'm hated is because you have friend groups and you have people that you're really close to, and sometimes you feel like they don't feel the same intensity of friendship that you do. And sometimes they do things with other friends and they don't tell you, and it makes you feel like you're less important because they don't want to tell you about it. And sometimes they don't text you, but it's very rare that you text anyone else though, so you just kind of feel left out more so than anything else. And growing up in a big family, you kind of feel like you're overlooked, and because you feel you're overlooked, you feel like everyone dislikes you, that you're hated, or that you're not welcome in that group or that little society or environment that you call home and family and friends. And I feel like I'm not the only one in the world that feels like this, because I know there are people that have big families like myself, and not everyone gets along, and sometimes you feel more excluded and more left out than other members of the family because you're different and you don't like the same things. Like, a large portion of my family enjoy cars, like talking about cars, like watching car shows, like going to car shows, like just love cars, as well as the fact that they like sports and like watching sports and like doing sports. And I have no problem with going to car shows or playing sports, but it's not an interest of mine. Like, I like singing, I like acting, I like makeup, and no one in my family environment really likes that sort of stuff. And I myself particularly love to read, and the only other person in my family who really likes reading is my dad, but like my dad and I have a relationship where we don't talk about books and stuff. We talk about what's pressing at that moment, and we kind of walk on eggshells because we're both very opinionated and very different in our views, which is also another reason why I feel like I'm so hated, because I don't share the same political, environmental, social, cultural views as everyone else that I am surrounded by usually, because I like to see things in a more open mindset, and I like to keep my mind open and not have a particular thought process on every single situation. Like, there are a few topics that I refuse to like change my stance on because of how I as a person view them and see them and kind of think that they should be viewed as. But everyone's like that. However, I like to keep my thought process open to most topics, because I feel it's important to be open-minded and open with your thoughts and and your thought processes in the society that we live in. And I feel like that is another reason why I feel hated, because I think differently to everyone else that I'm constantly surrounded by, as well as the fact that you surround yourself with people that are either like you or very different from you, because you think that opposites attract or whatever, you feel comfortable with those people. However, like, you feel comfortable with them, but when you're not with them, you don't feel comfortable about them, about being with them, being friends with them, being companions. And I think having that mindset, having that kind of thing go on in the back of your head makes you feel hated, makes you feel disliked or unloved in certain situations because of the comfortability that you have when you're with that person and the uncomfortability you have without that person, and how they act to respond to you sometimes. Like, I don't really text my friends because when I read the text, I interpret it in a different light, and I kind of see it as a more aggressive way of them talking to me, because I feel like I'm bothering them and I think that they don't want to talk to me. Which is all about perspective, when I think most of these things would be about perspective. And that's fine, that's just a general idea, but like I said, these are just kind of some reasons why I feel I'm hated or disliked personally in my environment, in my life, in my social circles. And I feel like I'm less talked to than most people because I do kind of exclude myself from a lot of situations because I'm not comfortable, because I get uncomfortable or I get too comfortable and people leave. And I have this overbearing fear of people leaving me or not wanting me around. And I feel like most people do. Like, I wouldn't say I have intense abandonment issues, but I feel like everyone has a level of issue with people leaving them because they don't want to be left, because they want to feel needed and important and validated. I think everyone wants to feel validated, and I personally, I like to say that I don't need to feel validated, but myself as a person and everyone else in the world does need to feel validated at some point in their lives, to be reminded that they do have importance, that they are worth something. So, and by validating people, it kind of stops them from going down this whole whirlwind and tunnel of darkness that kind of feeds into like depression and anxiety and such. But I think that within our society, we need to be more aware of how we respond, react, and treat people, because the slightest little thing can make someone think, oh, you don't want me around. Like, literally someone can start organizing something, not directly invite you, and you might feel like you're not wanted there because they didn't specifically invite you. They just kind of talked about it in your presence, but they didn't say that you were invited. They didn't tell you like all the details. So you just kind of automatically think, oh, they don't want me there. And it's kind of like you're standing at all these little crossroads of how you could respond and react to certain situations, and you got to start thinking of, how do I respond to this that doesn't make me feel like I'm unwanted, unworthy? Because sometimes you might actually be unwanted, unworthy, and that's a justified, and having the responses that we have to people is justified in sense of paranoia and etc. But we got to get, I feel like more people need to get into the idea, the mindset that just because people don't always make you feel like you're wanted doesn't mean you're not. That makes any sense? I know a lot of this is just babble, but like, there's always going to be someone that wants you there and another person that doesn't want you there. So there's always going to be times in your life where you're like, you are wanted and you aren't wanted, and you are not wanted, and that's fine. That's particularly nothing you can do about that. Like, some people like you, some people don't, and that's that. But I think people need to be more honest, like brutally honest, even though it's going to hurt you for a little while. It's better than having that constant fear and paranoia of people not liking you. Like, I generally would prefer it if people that I think I'm friends with walked up to me and told me that they hate my guts and don't want to talk to me, than pretend that I'm not part of their life or whatever, because then I'd know not to waste my time with that person trying to make them like me or trying to make them think that I'm worth their time, because it's just a waste of my time. Because if I were to walk up to you and be like, hey, I don't like you, you could be like, cool, I don't care. This doesn't affect me. Because in reality, people not liking you doesn't really affect you. Like, yeah, I'd be like, oh, that sucks for a little while, but like, what are you gonna do? You can't make everyone like you. And I think that's just a thing. Everyone wants to be liked. Everyone wants to want everyone to like them. And it affects us all very differently. But yeah, it kind of makes us feel very different and like respond and react to situations differently than what we normally would, because of how we think we should react because of how we feel. And I'm a big advocate for like having emotions, feeling things, and being honest about how you feel. But like, when your emotions are overpowering everything else in your life and you feel unwanted, so you act in a certain way, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I myself, I constantly feel like people don't want me around. And that's fine. It's justified. It's a weird paranoia that I have in the back of my mind because I don't think I'm likable. When in reality, my friends tell me all the time that I am likable, that they do want me around. But I'm always so scared that they don't. And I don't know what it is, and I think it's just because of how I've been raised or brought up in this society, or how I think and feel about things. It's just kind of been like, maybe they don't want me. Maybe I'm not wanted. But I don't need to be wanted, and I don't want to be around people all the time. So, yeah. Anyway, this has literally been 10 minutes of just me ranting. So that was the first official ranting video discussion that we're having here. So yeah, if you liked it, like and subscribe, because I'm a mess. Hi. Our next video, I don't know when it'll be out, but it'll be either this week or next week. I don't know if I'm going to do 1 or 2 videos a week. Have not yet decided, but the next video will probably be a makeup video. It kind of depends on what's happening in the world at the moment. But yeah, thanks for listening and thank you for watching, and I'm a mess. Bye bye.